talking about the what and the how of baptism, specifically and this is the controversial part, when we a few times a year do baptisms in the same service that we call people to faith. People that were not ready to get baptized that day, they had not been counseled before that day, they certainly hadn't walked through a 6-month process before that day, and yet they didn't know that morning, but there were prayer warriors that were asking, and God gave the fruit, and they got in the water that day to align their life in obedience with God's call, to take that first step of obedience. We did a whole podcast on this. I'm not going to go all the way back through it. We did a whole podcast on sort of the why of this. We feel like we step into an incredibly biblical tradition. I would not say that a church that doesn't ever do this or puts great distances between the salvation moment and baptism is, I'm not saying they're necessarily wrong or something like that. But I would certainly say that it's kind of ironic that many of those churches would say that what we do is wrong, only because like the biblical record is like every single person that we have record of their baptism in the whole Bible happened pretty much right after they got saved, you know? So it's just, man, we step into this biblical lineage in Acts. People get saved, they get baptized. There's a lot of people that push back on that go listen to the other podcast. Today we want to get into the how of that, because it doesn't just happen.